Hey guys, what's going on? It's Michael here again today, and this is going to be my predictions for UFC 146 this weekend, which the main event is a light heavyweight title bout with Rashad Evans challenging his former friend, now turned rival, John Jones, for the UFC light heavyweight championship. So yeah, let's get straight into this. This is an absolutely stacked card, and I think this is going to be a sick night of fights. So the first prelim bout, Mac Danzig versus Efrain Escudero. Efrain Escudero was cut by the UFC last year after missing weight and losing a couple of fights. But he is back in the UFC after stringing together a number of wins. I think he's already had one fight back in the UFC, which he won. He is predominantly a wrestler and a ground and pound artist. He has okay stand-up and okay jiu-jitsu, but his go-to is taking people down and beating them up. He is very big for a lightweight, much bigger than Mac Danzig. Mac Danzig, on the other hand, is always known for his conditioning. He has good striking and more knockout power than people give him credit for. He knocked out Joe Stevenson with one punch, and he does pack some power in his punches. He is also very good with his jiu-jitsu, very good off his back. So overall, for this first fight on the, there are a couple of Facebook prelims, but this is sort of the first main undercard bout. I'm going to go with Mac Danzig, and I'm going to go with decision. Efrain Escudero is a tough son of a gun, and I think he will stick in there, but I think Mac Danzig will take this by decision. The next fight on the undercard, this is going to be a sick fight, and this is one of my picks for early pick for a fight of the night. This is John the Bull Makdessi, who is a kickboxer predominantly, very, very flashy kickboxer, throws a lot of spinning back fist, a lot of spinning kicks, a lot of really sort of high-level kickboxing techniques, and he is facing another kickboxer, but more of a Muay Thai kickboxer in the very tall and lanky Anthony Njokuani, who quite recently, put on a great fight with another kickboxer, Edson Barbosa, ending up losing, but that was a sick fight. And I think this is just great striker versus great striker, and this fight is going to be fireworks. The one thing I think that could prove to be in Njokuani's favour is much taller, and he has much longer limbs than Makdessi. John Makdessi, sorry for sniffing, I've got a really bad cold. John Makdessi is very short and very compact for a lightweight, whereas Njokuani is very tall. I think he's 6 foot, which is huge for a lightweight, and he's very lean and long, and I think that could prove to be in his favour. Both guys have great chins, and I think this is just going to be a sick matchup. I honestly don't know who to call for this. If I had to go with someone, because I like Njokuani, I think he's a great guy, I'd have to go with Njokuani, again by decision for the victory. The next fight is Matt Brown, who is somehow still hanging on to his UFC contract by the skin of his teeth, against the Wonder Boy, who caused fireworks in his UFC debut, knocking out Dan Stichkin with a beautiful head kick, and that is Stephen Thompson. Stephen Thompson is actually unbeaten in all forms of his professional combat career. He is, I think he's 63-0 across all the things he's fought in. That's kickboxing, karate, and MMA, both amateur and professional. So he has actually never been beaten in his professional fighting career. And as tough as Matt Brown is, I think Stephen Thompson is an absolute superstar, and his kickboxing is really at the top of the world class, and I'm going to go with Stephen Thompson for knockout. Matt Brown can win this fight, but to do so, he can't get sucked into this tit-for-tat exchange, which he likes to get sucked into, these brawls. If he tries to brawl with Stephen Thompson, he will get knocked out. He needs to take it to the ground ASAP and try and submit Stephen Thompson, because he does have good wrestling and he does have good jiu-jitsu. But overall, I think this favours Steve Thompson because he's just such a world-class striker, and I think he will win by knockout. Travis Brown versus Chad Griggs. Chad Griggs is making his UFC debut after coming over from Strikeforce. He is known as a bit of an underdog in all of his fights, but he always seems to come through. He's known for pulling off wins that he shouldn't really get. He's probably most famous known for his win over Bobby Lashley in Strikeforce, where by his own admission, he said he went into the fight knowing that he'd been picked to lose to Lashley, and then he came out and beat Bobby Lashley by stoppage. He also beat Valentine Overeem, Alistair Overeem's older brother, recently. However, this is a huge step up in competition. Travis Brown, the Hawaiian native, is a really tall striker, and he has vicious knockout power. He knocked out Stefan Struve with a Superman punch. He fought Czech Congo to a draw. And as good as Chad Griggs is, he doesn't really stand out in any area. He's a very, very tough guy, and he's very good at hanging in there. But I think Travis Browne is just a step up, a bit too far in competition for him at this point in his career. And I'm going to go with Travis Browne by TKO. Then, the premier fight on the undercard, I guess. Actually, no, it's not. On the main card, we have Mark Hominick versus Eddie Egan. This is another battle of two strikers. Eddie Egan is a very well-rounded guy, but has some vicious striking. And Mark Hominick, again, very well-rounded, but predominantly known for his kickboxing. He suffered a shock knockout loss to Chan Sung Young in his last fight, and he will be looking to bounce back in style with this fight. I think Mark Hominick will be supremely pumped up for this fight. And I think he'll come out and put a beating on Eddie Egan. I think it will either be a TKO or a decision win for Mark Hominick. This is onto the main card, by the way, guys. Then Miguel Angel Torres versus Michael McDonald. There's a couple of fighters on the main card here that have been promoted to the main card after not really having much experience in the octagon, and Michael McDonald is one of these. This is a big step up in competition for the young man, facing the former WEC bantamweight champion and widely regarded for a long time, and still is one of the best bantamweights in the world, and that is Miguel Angel Torres. Michael McDonald showed in his UFC debut that he is very well rounded and he packs some knockout power. However, Miguel Angel Torres is vastly more experienced, has one of the best ground games in the bantamweight division, and is also a very good striker himself. Michael McDonald could be a future superstar, but I think personally this might just be a step up in class too far for him. And I think Miguel Angel Torres, training with the TriStar gym now, is going to be looking to put on a show and prove that he is back to his best. So I'm going to go with Miguel Angel Torres, and I'm going to go with a submission victory. The next is the big heavyweight battle between Brendan the Hybrid Schaub and Big Ben Rothwell. This is an interesting fight. Ben Rothwell and Brendan Schaub, both two very tough guys. Ben Rothwell is known for his toughness and his willingness to stay in a fight. He is a wrestler and ground and pound artist predominantly. He has okay strikes, but predominantly, again, he is a wrestler who likes to take people to the mat and beat them up. Brendan Schaub, on the other hand, is an up-and-coming heavyweight. He is very fast for a heavyweight, very good on his feet, former football player, so he's in very good shape all the time. And he has vicious knockout power in his hands. I think Brendan Schaub will bounce back from his last loss to Antonio Nogueira in style, and I think he will knock out or TKO Ben Rothwell in this fight. The co-main event of the evening is an interesting one. It's Rory MacDonald versus Shay Mills. Rory MacDonald is widely regarded to be one of the best prospects in MMA at the moment, and lots of people are touting him as a future champion in the welterweight division. Even George St. Pierre, the welterweight champion who trains with Rory MacDonald, has come out and said recently that Rory MacDonald will be a champion someday. And this seems to be the general consensus around at the moment, that Rory MacDonald will go on to be a champion at some point in his career. The question is, how soon? He is against Shay Mills. Shay Mills is a British striker. He's only had one fight in the octagon, so for him to be promoted to a co-main event so early shows that the UFC has a lot of faith in him. He's a very thickly muscled guy, and he's a very strong striker. He took, I think, was it just over a minute to knock out his opponent in his first fight in the UFC. And he is a vicious kickboxer. But I think Rory MacDonald, is the more well-rounded guy. I think Rory MacDonald is an excellent wrestler, training with George St. Pierre and training at TriStar and Jackson's MMA. He will have very good wrestling, and he has very good jiu-jitsu. And he comes in with really good game plans. He doesn't get sucked into his opponent's way of fighting. And I think Rory MacDonald will win this fight by either decision or TKO, or maybe even submission, because I think he will come in, he won't get lured into Shay Mills' striking game. I think he will take Shay Mills down, and I think he will beat him that way. On to the main event of the evening, what we're all waiting for. This is going to be a sick fight. This is John Jones defending his UFC light heavyweight title against his former friend and training partner turned rival, Rashad Evans. This is an interesting fight, and a lot of people are immediately picking John Jones, saying, John Jones is the next Anderson Silva and everything. But Rashad Evans knows John Jones inside out, and I know John Jones knows Evans inside out. But I think one of the big keys to victory that Jones has had in his UFC career so far is that his opponents don't know what to expect from him. I think Rashad Evans knows what to expect a bit more than any of John Jones' past opponents, and I think this is, if anyone in the UFC light heavyweight division can beat John Jones, I think it is Rashad Evans. Everyone says, Rashad Evans doesn't have this great wrestling collegiate career, which is true, he doesn't. I think he only went like 49-35 or something in his collegiate career, but that doesn't make a difference when it comes to MMA wrestling. He is one of the best MMA wrestlers out there. He proved that in his last fight by out-wrestling Phil Davis. Phil Davis has a phenomenal collegiate wrestling career. He's like 117-8 or something. And Rashad Evans completely out-wrestled him, out-struck him, and beat him in every area of the game, and ended up taking a very convincing decision victory. Rashad Evans is also very, very fast for a light heavyweight. Easily as fast as John Jones, if not maybe a bit faster, and he has great, very clean boxing and the occasional head kick in him as well. So I don't think this is as easy a fight as a lot of people are saying it is for John Jones. John Jones is a great Greco-Roman wrestler, but he is very tall, very gangly, and he stands very tall. The questions in this fight are, can he avoid Rashad Evans' double leg? And standing, if Rashad Evans hits him, how will he react? He did get hurt once by Machida, and it did wobble him a little bit, and if Rashad Evans connects, who knows what could happen. As much as I like John Jones, and as great a fighter as I think he is still very young, and everyone can make mistakes. So, for this fight, I am actually going to pick Rashad Evans, and I'm going to go with Rashad Evans by decision. I think Rashad Evans could take this one. I think this is pretty 50-50, but me personally, because I like Rashad a bit more, and I think if anyone in the light heavyweight division can beat John Jones, I think it will be Rashad. So I'm going to go with Rashad Evans by decision, UFC 146, Saturday the 21st of April 2012. Check it out, guys. Thanks. Bye.